What's up, y'all? This is episode 3 of the Highest Underground Show. I'm Chris Curls, and today I'm going to talk about basically what's happening with the rest of the country. Y'all can all see what's going on. Everything is shutting down. There's a lot of occupations out there where people basically have lost their revenue. And I used to be one of those people. I'm talking about bartenders, servers. I talked to some people who worked at an Olive Garden, and they're doing to-go orders, and they're slammed. The server said that their work there preparing the orders, and they're making like $100 a week. They all split the tips evenly, which I think is cool. I mean, not $100 a week, $100 a day, and that's decent. I mean, that's $500 or $600 a week, depending on how many days you work, and that's not that bad. I mean, you may not make much more than that if you were basically working and waiting tables, and a night when people could come in. So the whole thing that I really wanted to film this video about is how I cannot believe the church and how they're cucking to the scientists. These scientists are basing everything on models, and these models already predicted there would be much higher death rates, but they're not. And in fact, total world death rates are a little bit lower than last year. And instead of there being high pneumonia deaths, there's a lot of high COVID-19 coronavirus deaths, whereas the old people who would normally die, these people, listen, the coronavirus, I'm having trouble here because I don't want YouTube to strike down my video, and I don't want to say coronavirus is fake, because coronaviruses are real. It is the common cold. Now, this strain of the coronavirus, the COVID-19, may not be exactly what they're telling us, because they're not isolating COVID-19 in the test that they're running out of, but they got some they can give to a tiger, but not to other people. And they don't isolate it. What they do is they check for an RNA sequence that the person has. Now, a person may have these with COVID-19 or without COVID-19 and may not show any symptoms. One person may show symptoms, one person may not. They are not testing and isolating a specific virus. Now, Fauci, who's the main doctor coming on and telling everybody from Trump when he gives his little press conferences. I don't know if y'all remember, but Dr. Fauci, like, I'm 42 years old, so I remember, the whole AIDS epidemic. I was in school when they were building the quilt and the blanket, and I remember Magic Johnson coming down with it, and I remember them talking about AZT. I don't know if y'all remember that, but that was supposedly the cure. Now, AZT was a chemotherapy drug that basically stopped all of your cells from replicating, good and bad. And, you hear somebody, hold on one second. You hear some people talking about, because like once every week, I mean, your cells, I forget what, I think it's 7 days, but I forget, it may be even faster than that. Every cell in your body has replicated. So are you really the same person? But that's getting off into the thing, into something else. But AZT basically stopped your cells from replicating, good and the bad. So once you started taking it, you started dying because you were no longer growing and reproducing new cells. Now, Dr. Fauci was one of those people pushing AZT back in the 80s. This little man that we're listening to now, who says he's Catholic, but I doubt that he is. And he was pushing the AZT, and that's one reason, like E. Michael Jones talks about, that's why we have Magic Johnson today and not Arthur Ashe. It's because Magic Johnson started taking the AZT, felt sick, stopped taking it. Arthur Ashe kept taking it, and he died. But Dr. Fauci killed way more homosexuals than the actual disease did. The cure back then was basically killing people. And they found that out later. This is not me talking. You can go look this up. It was a big debacle when it came to the homosexual disease, AIDS, intravenous drug users, homosexuals. Why did it affect them so much? More than other people. And we can thank Dr. Fauci for that. Now, he's the one trying to tell us right now, hey, I'm a scientist. You need to shut up and listen to me. I don't care what your religious beliefs are, and you're supposed to go to church on Easter and, once a week, or y'all know, it's not set in stone in the Bible of how often you should go to church. But Easter, like I said, one, if not the second biggest Christian holiday. And you have all these churches saying that we're going to hold online services and Facebook services. I think I might title this show, "Oh Ye of Little Faith." I can't believe the churches are doing this. You have a God-given constitutional right to free assembly, no matter what the emergency is. And the only way that they're actually able to keep people from doing this and exercising their rights is because they're trying to shame people. They're trying to shame you. If you go out, you may not have symptoms, but you may have the virus, and you may spread it to your grandmother, and she may die. Or you know what? Worse yet, someone else's grandmother, and they may die. And blah, 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 blah. Although, I guess it would be worse if you killed your own grandmother. But we don't want to kill any grandmothers. You know what I mean? So if you're old, and you're the type where you're old enough where a cold pneumonia might kill you, then you need to not go to church. You need to stay home. Why not? Why take the risk? But if you're young and you're healthy and you don't believe this bullshit, then you should go to church. Because I want to go to church. And there's hardly any churches that are going to be giving Easter Sunday services tomorrow. And that's a damn shame. So, one thing I've been hearing about the whole coronavirus and the death certificates is that they will test people for coronavirus. If you have coronavirus and you die, or you have that specific sequence of RNA strands in your genetic material, and you die, they attribute your death to coronavirus. Now, there have been nurses on social media who have come and talked about, like, people are coming in with gunshot wounds. Obviously, the cause of death is getting shot. And managers and doctors coming in the next morning, they have to initial because they are changing the death certificates to coronavirus because they tested them post-mortem and they're putting that they're dying of coronavirus. It's almost like anyone who dies, if they test for this specific RNA sequence, they're putting your death as coronavirus. Shit. Rico got shot 5 times last night. Died on the way to the hospital of coronavirus. Nah, man. Nah, it wasn't the gunshot wounds. He only took 2 in the lungs. And it was just 1 lung. He was having respiratory problems. And stopped breathing. Definitely coronavirus. And that's basically what they're doing. And I don't believe it. I can't believe everybody's buying into the hype. I have friends of mine and family. I used to be a bartender and worked in the restaurant industry most of my life. And servers, bartenders, these people, a lot of them, if they're not like the servers who are doing to-go orders and deliveries, and who knows if all the places are actually busy, like the people that I know at the Olive Garden. It's a guy that I work with. His family, sister and his mother works there, and they're telling me they're busy making money. I'm like, good for you. But there's got to be people who aren't. The places that, like the sandwich shops, when you just walk in, get a sandwich, walk out, those places, nothing's really changed for them. I see people driving around all the time. I have friends of mine in Europe and they're telling me that things are on lockdown there, and that people are coming up to them threatening to write them tickets. Here, our governor comes up and tells everybody, hey, we're going to shut it down. And Trump has never said he thinks they should shut anything down. He's left it up to the states, which I like. States' rights, leave it up to the states. However, it sucks when you live in a state where people are pushing this hype and no one, when there's a war going on, a lot of people can name people personally who've died in that war, like any war of the United States where people are still alive. I mean, from the Gulf War, from the Iraq, from Afghanistan, people can usually name people because it's been that many people. That's how it affects us. It seems that no one that I know, and I can't name anyone who's died of coronavirus. Now, maybe that will change. I'm hoping it doesn't. However, it seems like this coronavirus, until they can isolate it and treat it like something that, like the other virus, herpes, human papilloma, you know what I'm saying, until they can diagnose it and treat it, this specifically this, then they need to stop pushing this hysteria, because you're seeing certain videos of hospitals that are supposedly getting slammed with patients and it's empty. And there's plenty of videos like this on the internet, and other videos of saying that they're putting in 5G towers everywhere. They're rolling out the 5G. They're putting it in the schools while all the kids are out of school. And I'm like, why can't they just wait till the summertime? How long does it take to put in 5G towers in the schools? It doesn't seem like they need to do a coronavirus pandemic to put 5G in the schools. The kids are out for almost 3 months during the summer. I mean, they could definitely wait a couple of months before they rolled it out. It wasn't like something that they, maybe they meant to do it last summer. It was late, so they rolled it out. And they're trying to really, really push it because they've rolled it out in Wuhan and saw how good it worked. Y'all, there's no emergency ever that could give scientists, the same scientists who got paid by the cigarette companies. These scientists were Harvard scientists too, just so you know, and got paid by the cigarette companies back, in the 50s, talking about cigarettes aren't bad. 9 out of 10 doctors smoke Camels. I mean, be careful and wary when it comes to science, because there's a lot of things that they can't prove. They take it as just, it's an automatic certain. But in reality, it's not. It's not like engineering, which I love. Someone builds a bridge, it has to be like this, because if not, it collapses. Doctors can be wrong all the time. Here, take this medication. We all know doctors have just become legalized drug dealers. They don't learn nutrition. They don't learn prevention. They learn to look for symptoms to prescribe you the right drug, because all of them are just drug dealers for Big Pharma. And why is that? Because Big Pharma donates so much money to medical schools, and they teach them these things. They basically control the curriculum of medical schools. That's why you don't see nutrition classes in medical schools. You don't see any herbs and natural therapies and what is it called? The people who homeopathy and that type of medicine. It's not around. Everything today is allopathic medicine, and it's all chemical based. They want to prescribe you a drug, and if that doesn't work, we'll try another drug. But they never talk about the things that you can do, and this is just, everybody knows this. This is not something that, look at most medical schools and see how many nutritional classes and nutrition and things like this they offer in the curriculum to be a doctor. Not many. So take heed before trusting your life and your soul with these people, because they are wrong a lot. A lot. Like I said, my plumbers, my electricians, and my carpenters, and all my people that work with your hands, and the builders, the engineers, We save more lives every year than any scientist or any doctor and any nurse. And I love the nurses. I don't mean to beat up on y'all because y'all do all the work and the doctors take all the credit. We all know that. The nurses are the cool part about the hospital. The doctors are the arrogant fucktards that are always walking around relying on their science to help people when why does the US have such a bad health problem, obesity problem, heart disease, cancer, when we supposedly have the best doctors in the world? So y'all, I just want to say this because it's really going to be interesting to me to see what churches are going to be open tomorrow. Because you'd think that first, you're an American, no one can take that right of free assembly away from you. And second, you're a Christian and you follow God and it's a Christian holiday. So I'm interested to see. Let me know if anybody has church services that are opening up the church doors. I'd really like to know. I want to interview the pastors. I pray that they do because people need it. It's hard to fathom that churches are going to close their doors on Easter Sunday. I want to look back and do a little research and see if they did that in World War I, World War II, any major catastrophe. In the whole 2,000 years of Christian history, have they closed their doors because of, normally you'd think a brutal dictator would make you close the door, but still we all know that Christians would go underground and have these, services and lectures and what have you in these meetings. So it's going to be interesting. Y'all, I'm sorry. I know it's been 3 weeks. I haven't done a video. We've been wiring this house. I'm going to film you a little video of this house. You got to see it. It's really cool. It's got a cool view. And we're going to talk about some things. We're going to talk about the trades again. Because as you can see, the trades are busy still. All the people have these secondary services jobs. Not to say they don't matter. But I bet it's definitely make you second think what you're doing for a career, and if it doesn't, maybe you should. And even a lot of these people who work in restaurants, even when everything, the economy starts opening again and everybody gets back to work, I think within 6 months, a lot of restaurants, maybe even half, are going to go out of business because people are going to be a lot smarter with their money. They're not just going to go out and eat and drink in restaurants all the time like we've been doing as spoiled, arrogant, rich Americans. We've been kind of maybe shaken up and taught a lesson here, and I think a lot of those restaurants are going to go out of business. People are going to be a lot more hesitant about wasting their money on these secondary services. They're going to be buying things, and hopefully everybody's going to be ready to have this kind of situation going again, because this wasn't a pandemic, it's a plandemic, and it was set in motion by the oligarchs for a reason and for a purpose, and that's to see how we handled it. And how we handled it was, for them, a complete dream. We just obeyed and did everything they told us to do. So when the big one comes, and I think everybody knows that, they're going to be spending their money a lot more wisely. Because, like I said, this is the little tremors before the earthquake hits. And I pray to God everybody's ready when it hits, and everybody gets their things in order with their friends, with their family, with their resources. We know what we have to do. Guys, I love you. Happy Easter. Hopefully, y'all are going to church, because I'm going, even if they're not opening the doors. Peace.